Well.
You look like you had a great, fun day.
It was a fabulous day.
And is it going well with yourself?
It's going really well. I'm still in the honeymoon period, I think.
So you haven't had a row with yourself yet or anything? Or...
You know, there's always ups and downs, but for better or worse, I think, you know, it's a daily sort of climb, really.
And Sophie, what happens if you ever meet someone else? Will you have to divorce yourself?
Well, so, I've been asked this a lot. I think divorcing yourself is quite harsh because it's quite a journey to get there to marrying myself. And divorcing yourself means that you couldn't live with yourself, which is not a great place to be.
No,
so,
tricky place to be.
Yeah, tricky. But I've also been asked, would you cheat on yourself? And I just have to, marrying yourself is not really about being a nun or being a celibate. You can still embrace other meaningful relationships.
Yes, and it's more like, it's not so much cheating as a threesome, really, wouldn't it be? Sort
Yeah,
of,
I guess a threesome.
So you bring both of you along. Well, yeah,
that's it.
That all works. So everybody's
better.
happy.
So people are going to be very intrigued. I was absolutely fascinated by this. Tell us why, where this started. Because you've had relationships, you've had several boyfriends, you've lived with your boyfriends.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not like you've always been on your own.
No.
So where did you decide to marry yourself? Why?
Well, I guess it was a couple of years ago. I was sort of lying in bed one morning, having just recovered from quite a bad breakup. And you know that sort of feeling you get when you're kind of, you rediscover yourself and you kind of start feeling back more in control. And I was just so happy because I spent a lot of time single in my 20s and I was always really happy single. So I kind of just felt really happy to be returning to myself and I wanted a way to celebrate that. You know, lots of couples have ways to celebrate the milestones they go through and I was like, I want to. So I decided to write a novel about a girl who marries herself and I just did a bit of research and it was more the investigation which kind of made me want to go through with it more. I wrote to Brighton and Hove Ceremonies office and said, you know, is it possible? And they were quite curt in their response. They said, you know, no, marriage is a union between one man and one woman to the exclusion of everybody else. We cannot help you. And I don't like being told no, so I carried on.
That made you even more determined?
More determined. I did more research. I wrote this novel called Happily, which is very much about this, quite based on my life. And by the end of the book, I was so keen on the idea and the concept that I thought I need to do this myself.
Is the premise of this then, Sophie, that, you know, you don't need somebody else, man or woman, to complete you? You know, you hear people say, he completes me, she completes me. It's like the final piece of the jigsaw.
Yes.
Are you saying that, well, you don't need that, you have to be able to love yourself?
Yeah, exactly that, I think. And also, you know, in other cultures, they have rites of passage, which sort of celebrate your self-development. And I think in the UK, a lot of people choose not to marry or marry a lot later. And we don't really have anything to sort of celebrate that development. So I just think it's a really nice way. Also, I do think it's a bit of a statement on... you know, there's quite a stigma around being single still, surprisingly, which is what Bridget Jones is all about.
And you're, if you don't mind me saying, how old you are?
37.
37, yeah. So you get to that stage where people say, why is she not married
Yeah,
yet?
in your 30s, you're like...
I think it also shows you're very much not a victim, and if you don't love yourself, how do you expect anyone else to love yourself? So you go along with this, you concoct or you make up this ceremony that you've got to go through with, and I can understand you buying into this, but you go the whole hog and you invite people to this and whatever. What do your friends make of this? Are they thinking she's bonkers or are they in with you on this?
Pretty much bonkers, I guess. I've had a few interesting conversations with certain people. You know, particularly guys are kind of like, well, if you're going to marry yourself, you can't be with someone else as well. You know, you can't have your cake and eat it. But I can.
No, I think I like this. I think it gives you a lot of confidence, and I think you're spreading a lot of love, which is contagious. We saw you dancing there on the way to the church, and we're going to... you tell us why these particular songs. First of all, this one. Let's listen to this.
He's off.
And that is?
That is Kendrick Lamar, I Love Myself. Brilliant song.
Well, and where did you have that? First dance? Or?
That was... we sort of paraded through the Pavilion Gardens to the stage. And all the bridesmaids wore completely clashing colours, and we had this little portable stereo, and we kind of danced. We had a little dance sequence that we figured out before.
And then your dad walked you down the aisle.
Yes.
What did you choose to walk down the aisle to?
I chose to... Well, that was kind of the end of that song.
Yeah.
And then the other music we had Ellie Goulding for My First Kiss.
And your first dance was?
Was Trini Lopez, If You Want to Be Happy for the Rest of Your Life.
I love that one.
It's like an island song.
Bit of Trini. It did look like a really happy day.
What was your first dance?
My first answer was Crazy Love. Thank you.
Yes, I'm just testing.
Did you think I didn't
I'm
remember?
just testing because your anniversary's coming up.
I did look it up. I had to remember it this morning because I thought, I bet he'll ask me and try and test me because, you know, I'm rubbish at those things. I don't remember things like that. Can I just ask you, though, this obviously isn't legally recognised, the marriage to yourself, you know, accepted by you and your friends and family. If you did meet man or woman and decide you've fallen in love, would you ever get married in the traditional way?
It's not sort of like a goal of mine as such. I don't necessarily think it's necessary a piece of paper for a commitment. If I met someone who was really, really keen on having a wedding, I would quite happily have another wedding. I think weddings are great.
So you're not anti-marriage per se?
No, not anti-marriage as such.
But
I
you're
just don't
pro-love.
see why you shouldn't have a marriage without a husband.
Yeah.
Right. Very interesting. Has it
Very
got you talking?
interesting.
Has it got you thinking today? Thank you very much indeed. Really, really, very, very interesting. Very lovely to hear your whole thoughts on that. That is Sophie Tanner, and she is newly married to herself. To herself.
And we've had lots of comments. Sophie says, being single is nothing to be ashamed of. Know your worth instead of settling for someone else. Louise says, at least you won't be disappointed in the bedroom.
Very true. I've never had a trouble pleasuring myself.
And Honey says, you've got to learn to love yourself before anyone else will love you. It's a good job you've got me to love you, eh? OK, so that's what? I'm saying nothing.
You started that.
I'm saying nothing, it's just your mind. Hello, YouTube. For more of the same, just click here. And don't forget, you can subscribe for even more of these amazing videos exclusive to our channel.
It came about because we sort of saw the sort of costume on the internet, on eBay, and purchased that one. And from there, it sort of became like a sort of an alternative ego. It's sort of a chance to dress up and role play. You do it as a child, and why can't we do it as adults, really?